Hello, everybody. It is the end of the year, and I very much hope that you're taking some time off. I gotta say, I was not intending to do any episodes at all during this break. However, I have been really doing some reflecting on 2018 and everything that has gone on in my business during this whole wonderful year. And I thought that I just really needed to share with you so much of what I've learned and why my business is in its most stable, most profitable, and really the most manageable place that it has ever been, ever in 10 years. I'm getting so much done in the world. I'm helping so many people, and I'm working less at the same time. I'm stressing less, and it just feels so good to have finally made it to this place. I wanted to share some lessons that I've learned and hopefully give you some ideas that you can bring into your new year as well. So by the way, in case we haven't met, I'm Michelle Fennickhouse. I've been a certified health coach with my own private practice for 10 years, and I act as a mentor for my fellow health coaches. And I'm sorry, my voice is a little scratchy today. My boys gave me one heck of a cold for Christmas, which I am now getting over, but whew, it was a doozy. Anyway, if you're watching this via video, if you're watching live, if you're watching the replay later, go ahead and give a like, say hello, and tell me, how ugly is this sweater that my husband gave me for Christmas? Like really, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the ugliest, go ahead and rate it. I know. He said, it's what all the kids are wearing. And I'm like, I highly doubt anyone is wearing this. But here I am anyway, trying to pull it off, trying to be a trooper. So anyway, bad Christmas presents aside, we are here to talk business, and I'm happy to take your questions as we go along. So if I'm not being clear about something, or if what I say reminds you of something else that you want to ask, you can go right ahead. That's why I do these live. So after giving it a lot of thought, I had to go through my calendar and remind myself of all the different things that I did this year, and I encourage you to do the same. Do a recap, do a post game, what actually happened between January and December of this year. I did that for myself, and I made a short list of exactly 5 very important decisions that I made this year that made it the best year ever in my business. So we'll start with the fact that I'm niching down. Niching down, I love that as a verb, niching. But I'm doing this more than ever before. I'm going to explain, because I have had a somewhat complicated relationship with my target market for many years, and I know that many of you are in the same boat. And actually, I'm going to share a way for you to get help with that in just a few minutes. But here's the deal. For many, many years in my health coaching business, I've worked with different types of women. I've helped them lose weight, de-stress, solve digestive issues, and more. It's been a bit broad, and that was fine 5 years ago. It was totally fine 10 years ago. But these days, as you've heard me talk about, if you've listened to any other episodes of this show, it is harder than ever to stand out in the health and wellness industry. Truth. We are so very saturated. Now, that doesn't mean it's impossible, but it means that I have seriously committed to this niching down. So I've started to do it already in small ways. And in 2019, I will be launching an entirely new brand, new URL, new everything for my health coaching business. It will be called She's Got Power, and I will serve type A go-getter women whose #1 problem is burnout caused by chronic stress. Now, part of niching down for me has also meant truly separating the work that I do as a health coach and the work that I do as a mentor for health coaches, because up until this year, my whole business has been kind of under one umbrella. So on one hand, I'm helping a woman solve her digestive problems, and then on another hand, like 5 minutes later, I'm teaching about marketing, and it made for a really confusing business model for me. So for example, what should I post about on social media? What should I send emails about? Who am I really talking to? And if you've ever found yourself trying to serve more than one group of people at once, You know exactly what I'm talking about. You get to these moments where you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know. It makes it really confusing. So this year, in addition to really niching down on my health coaching side of the business, I decided I'm going to actually completely separate the two. So I basically have two businesses, and each one has its own target market, its own business plan. I'm so happy about this. On one side, we've got my type A burnt out woman, like I was telling you about. And on the other, well, we have you. If you are listening to, or if you're watching this episode, then chances are I have niched down to help you, a certified health coach, build a profitable business. And I even started a brand new separate Instagram account for the Health Coach Power community. So if you're on Instagram, follow us. We're at Health Coach Power Community. Love to see you there. And I got to tell you, already it is so much easier to figure out what content goes where, because I know exactly who I'm serving in each of my businesses. So just as an example of how you can make marketing easier for yourself, you have to niche down. You have to know your target. I feel much, much more clear about, like I said, what content to put out. I know exactly who I'm talking to and when, and it's just making marketing a breeze compared to before. However, it was still one of the hardest, biggest decisions that I made in 2018. So all I have to say is, if you're struggling with your marketing at all, if you're not knowing what to write in your emails, what to blog about, what kind of workshops to run, how to talk about yourself, who to attract. If you're not getting enough clients, period, you have got to first look at your target market. And a couple of years ago, definitely 5 or 10 years ago, you could have skated by without one, or something really vague. You could say, I help busy women get healthy, but it's not going to cut it anymore. So if you're kind of spinning your wheels, this is where you want to focus. And actually, I recently asked inside of our Facebook group who would like more help in this area. Like, who would want some sort of resource that walks you through the steps of choosing a great target market. And if enough coaches respond, I'm going to go ahead and make that free resource for you. So what you can do is just head on over to healthcoachpowercommunity.com and look for the post that has a big bullseye photograph. It's a target, right? Get it? Target market. And that's where you can vote, and just let me know that this is of interest to you, and I'll make sure that you get a copy when it's done. Okay, so first great decision in 2018 was niching down and separating my businesses so that I'm not trying to serve several groups of people at once. The next great decision I made was this. I built a team. I know. I never thought I was going to use the word team to describe my business, because for years, I haven't really wanted to feel like a manager of other people. I don't know. It wasn't something I saw myself doing. And I was always afraid to spend the money on too much help in my business. I've had a virtual assistant, but this year, for the first time, I really started leaning on her more heavily and hiring in several other people to help run my business. And it feels so, so good. But I want to just put it out there. These are not full-time staff members. Like, when entrepreneurs would talk about their team, I always imagined that meant full-time employees and paying benefits and all that jazz. It sounded like way big and scary. So I just want to lower your expectations in a way. Like, you can have a team in a much smaller sense, and it's still so very helpful. A team can mean that you have a couple of people that work for you, and they do so on an ongoing basis. They're not just dropping in. I have that kind of people on my team too, where they just drop in for a particular project. But the people who I really would consider my core team are a continuous part of the business. And that's what makes them so valuable, because they know what you did last month. They know what you did 6 months ago. They know what you're planning to do 6 months from now. So now I have people, all women, by the way, who know the ins and the outs of my business, and they can make really smart recommendations. They can call me on my mistakes and let me know what I'm doing wrong, where I'm making bad decisions. And that is so, so valuable. And they're not full-time, and they're not here in my house with me or anything like that. It's everybody is remote and part-time and paid as I forget what it's called, just as a consultant or as a professional service. They're not an employee of the company. So this is something anybody can do a little bit more of in 2019, and I encourage you to do so. So you're probably wondering who's on the team? Like, who are these people? And I don't want to spare you any details because, again, this is the stuff I was always wondering about. It always felt like a little behind the curtains of like, oh, that's what other people do. But it's not. It's not that weird. It's not that scary to start scaling up your business bit by bit. So like I said, I have an all-woman team, and they're scattered around the US and Canada. They're all working remotely. Number one, I have my assistant, Kelly. Hi, Kelly. She's going to be editing this episode, so she'll be reading this or seeing this at some point. I've talked about her in other episodes, so you may already have heard my spiel on assistants. But basically, I lean on Kelly for repetitive tasks, things like setting up recurring webinars, accepting people into a Facebook group. She also handles anything like super technology related that I don't know how to do, or she'll set up like a new URL for me or new email accounts, or even when I bought some done for you legal documents, you just have to like fill in the blanks and kind of go through the process of customizing them. Kelly helped me do that and then pop them onto my website. So she, like I said, will be taking the recording of this podcast, by the way, adding the intro, adding the outro, uploading it to iTunes and YouTube, and she does it every week. So thank you so much, Kelly. Virtual assistants, can't say enough about it. If you want to, by the way, hear a little bit more about virtual assistants, there's an episode, if you go a few back, it was called like Tips, Tricks, and Tools, something like that. And in that episode, I talk more about hiring assistants. I also have Jessica on my team now, handling my bookkeeping. And this falls squarely in the category of, if you hate doing it, outsource. Because I found myself dreading having to look at, deal with, reconcile my books. It was the kind of thing I would have to like get a bag of chocolate chips out of the pantry and like bribe myself by mowing down on some chocolate chips or some whatever while I was doing the work because I hated it so much. So if there's any work that makes you have to bribe yourself with something like chocolate chips, I mean, that's so backwards for a health coach, right? You got to recognize that in yourself and say, okay, this is not aligned with who I am. This is not making me happy. How else can I solve this problem? And so for me, yay, I am so beyond thrilled to have Jessica handling this stuff for me now. And the bonus is that she's a health coach too. She's trained as a health coach. Now she's not health coaching anymore, but she knows exactly what my business is all about, which is like 2 thumbs up from me. And she's going to be making a guest appearance inside the Health Coach Power community in 2019 to share her financial wizardry, that's a weird word, wizardry with us. So you can stay tuned for that and learn how to get a handle on your finances when we speak to Jessica. Okay, another addition to my team this year was hiring Wahida. I just spoke with her this morning. Wahida is fabulous. And I first hired her to do my Facebook ads, but it turns out she is very, very smart, very strategic, and really quickly went above and beyond just doing the Facebook ads. She helps me look at hard numbers instead of making decisions based on my intuition alone. So she's become a lot more of an all-around resource for me, helping with my launches. She's actually doing some copywriting for me as well. So that's been a really important hire and a new part of my business this year. Sharon saying she wants a manager that books speaking gigs for her. Yes, you can absolutely hire somebody to do that. Yes, and I think that's really it. You got to figure out like, where are your weak spots? Where could you be making more money, doing more with your time, and the things that are kind of holding you back, and that's where you find someone to fill in those gaps. And often I haven't known who to hire. I wasn't like, oh, I need a person who does this exact thing, and I'm going to go to this exact place to find that person. But instead, I sort of defined for myself what kind of help I needed. And it's pretty funny the way that the universe will send the right person to you. I would just ask around my network, get a couple of recommendations, and boom, I have found like the perfect people. So I'm sorry that there's no one website I can point you to that's like, boom, here's where you go hire your assistant, or here's where you go hire your manager. But you start asking around and putting your intention out there, and clearly it works, because that's how all of these people have found their way onto my team. I also had a couple of team members this year to assist me with our Facebook group. The Health Coach Power Community group has over 6,000 members as of today, which means we get far more questions than I could ever answer. And then beyond answering questions, we work very, very hard to keep this group spam free. So my team members help me catch anybody who is promoting themselves, soliciting our members. We just want to really keep this a focused, safe space for certified health coaches only. So funny how many people try to sneak into the group who are not health coaches. They're just here to market themselves or to do market research for their own business and make money off of you guys. I mean, we're all here in business to make money, but there's good ways to do it and there's slimy ways to do it. And so I try to keep all the slime out of our group. Anyway, I can't do it alone. I'm very, very grateful for these ladies, Julie and Aileen. Thank you so much for your help. And the last team member that I want to mention is the newest addition to the family. A couple of months ago, I was noticing that I had some projects that were just perpetually falling through the cracks for whatever reason. They weren't getting done, they were getting pushed to the back burner, and some of them were pretty important. So I didn't want them to be lost in the shuffle anymore. I desperately needed somebody to keep it all together for me. And can I just say, I really want, now I want a t-shirt that says, I love project management. Like, it has been a total lifesaver investing in a project manager. It's helping me take on larger scale projects. It's helping me worry a whole lot less. I cannot say enough about it. So big shout out to Stephanie for rocking my project management world. Again, came to me through a recommendation just from someone in my network. Had a few conversations with a few different people, and it was pretty easy for me to be like, nah, that's not what I need. That's not what I need. And when I spoke to Stephanie, I was like, yes, she gets it. That's what I need. And all of this was scary, really scary, because when you're hiring help, you're wondering, can I afford this? Or will I be wasting my time training somebody who's unreliable? However, looking back on it now, I can see that investing in these ladies is helping me earn more. It's helping me enjoy my business more. So it's been really, really worth taking the leap. So that's the first one, right? Or no, not the first one, the second one. First, I niched down. That was number one. Second, I built a team. What a year. The next thing that I want to share is a little more down and dirty. It's something that anybody can start doing tomorrow and just see how it works for you. No investing required, nothing too crazy. It's just a way of managing your time. So up until a year ago, really, because it was the end of last year that I thought to myself, I need to make the leap, because I'd still been using a paper calendar, which I love. I love writing things down. I love seeing things on paper. But I made the decision to switch over to Google Calendar because I wanted it to sync with my client booking system. I wanted it to sync with my phone. You know, it is somewhat limiting to have things on paper, and the time zones were always getting me, because if I made an appointment with somebody for 3 o'clock, it's like, is that my time zone or their time zone? The online calendar solves all of that. But what I didn't realize was how granular an online calendar was going to help me get with my daily schedule. And what I mean by that is I started to block off time for all of my tasks. So the day would just be like visually on the calendar. If any of you use Google, it would just literally look like a bunch of blocks. So instead of just putting client meetings or true appointments on the calendar, I put everything on the calendar. If I have to write a blog post, I block off 2 hours, 3 hours, boom, takes up that amount of time on the calendar. If I have to send out a weekly email to my list, boom, 30 minutes, whatever it's gonna take. And little by little, I started blocking off everything I have to do each day, even things like take a shower, eat lunch. Sometimes it's hard to remember to do these things when you're working for yourself. And for me, at least, I have limited time to work when my kids are at school. So when they're gone out of the house, I'm like, right down the list. Anyway, got to put in their time to shower occasionally. But what I found was that by time blocking in this way, I could realistically see exactly how much fits into a day. And when it was full, it was full. Before that, I don't know how you guys do it, but I would estimate that, oh yeah, I could get that done. You know, X, Y, and Z. I'm going to get it all done. And if I got extra time, I'm going to do something else too. And then I couldn't get it all done. I'd be stressed out. I'd be disappointed in myself and scrambling. So this was not a good way to run a business. It was really not, again, not treating myself like a business. If you've ever worked in the corporate world, usually you have timesheets, and there's a reason for that. The company wants to know how you're spending your day, how many of your hours are billable, how many are not, and that's how they make business decisions, like who to hire. Same thing here. So time blocking has been super important. I don't even have a to-do list anymore. Rather than having a running list of stuff that has to get done sometime, I just take that task and I plop a time block into my calendar. Maybe it's today, maybe it's next week, but this way there is somewhere a time and a space held for it. And this way it actually gets done. So, hey, yo, for Google Calendar. Do you like this idea? I know some of you may love it, especially if you're a planner like me. And some of you might be a little more hesitant. You might be like, well, that sounds really strict, sounds really inflexible. You know, I like more flexibility in my days. I just want to say, don't worry, because I don't work like a robot either. I mean, things happen. I'll have a kid home sick, or I'll be sick, or something takes longer than I thought it was going to. So even though I have my days blocked off like this, there's often something that needs to be moved around or changed. And it's so easy. You just literally drag that block to a different day. And if that day is full, you can move it around from there. It's almost like playing Tetris or something, you know, but you can just visually see all the time blocks that need to be accounted for. Now, more often than not, the other way that I keep it flexible within this system is I overestimate how long everything's going to take. So I'm almost always able to complete a task in less time than I had allowed for it. So like if I finish early, I can take a break. I can go get a cup of tea. I can lie down on the couch and close my eyes for a bit, knowing full well that I'm not behind schedule at all. I have time for this break and I can enjoy it without guilt. And let me tell you, that never, ever happened before, because I always assumed there's something else that has to get done. There's something I'm forgetting, right? So now, relax, and it feels so good. Anyway, you got to try it. Highly recommend, even if you just do it for one day to test it out. It has increased my productivity by like 1 million. And it helps me plan for the future as well. Like right now, so we're at the end of 2018, we're looking into 2019, and I already know exactly what I'm doing pretty much for the whole month of January. It's already blocked out. So if some new opportunity were to come my way, I already know I don't realistically have time for that. You know, I guess it depends what it is. I could always do some major rescheduling, but it helps me know my boundaries and stick to what is usually for me a 35-hour work week instead of constantly feeling like I'm on the clock. All right, next up, one of the top 5 decisions that I made in 2018. This one might sound silly, but I invested in a standing desk. I'm using it right now. I love it. And I have a walking treadmill underneath. You guys, I cannot even tell you how much happier I am with this desk. First of all, I'm walking more, obviously, 2, 3, 4 extra miles a day while I work. So that's just obviously good exercise, no extra time required there. Love it. We're always telling our clients to try to get more movement into their days, and this has been the best thing I've ever done in order to accomplish that goal. So try it for yourself, but suggest it to your clients as well, especially if they work from home, because in any office now, I think a lot of people can get a standing desk. They may not be able to get a treadmill, maybe, who knows? But if someone works from home, yeah, man, it's right up there. I'm like one of the top things I'm recommending for everybody. Secondly, the new desk that I have has completely taken care of chronic neck pain, this shoulder, back, neck thing, whatever that I had been having for years. I was in pain. I was totally uncomfortable. I was spending time every day, like rolling on the tennis balls, trying to loosen up these muscles. I was seeing a chiropractor, the whole 9 yards, paying for massages. Got a new desk. Boom. I don't need any of that. Like a week or two later, and all of the pain and discomfort was gone because I'm not stuck in the same position all day, and the desk is adjustable, so I can put it at the exact level that I need. So there's none of this hiking up your arm, especially was always on my right side because I'm right-handed. Now everything's at the proper level. I'm going to explain the whole setup to you, okay? Because everybody always wants to know. In fact, if you go on the Instagram that I mentioned earlier for Health Coach Power Community, I have a picture. If you scroll back, there's a picture of the whole desk. So the desk itself is 72 inches wide, and it has a little button here on the side to adjust it, and goes up and down. So I can sit, I can stand, always the right height. And actually this whole setup, the desk, everything I'm going to tell you about the treadmill comes from a company called Fully.com. I don't know why it's called Fully adjustable. I don't really know what that fully is all about, but that's my best guess. Okay, so we have the desk itself, and then down here on my right there is a treadmill. It's a Lifespan walking treadmill. It's sold through Fully, kind of like in a bundle with the desk. You buy it together. It's a good deal, and I love it. It takes up some space, of course, but it's very low profile compared to what you would think in your head of a treadmill, that has like the sides that come up and the big display in front of you. It's not like that. It's just the thing on the ground. So, yes, does it take up space? Yes, it takes about 5 feet from the wall out to the end of the treadmill, but no bells and whistles around it. That's all that it is there on the ground. I love that. So I just keep that on one side of the desk. And then on the other side of the desk is where I'm either standing or I have a chair. I have a saddle style desk chair for a standing desk, which I think is hilarious, isn't it? It's like a chair for your standing desk. I thought they were joking when I went to that page of the website. I'm like, clearly I don't need a chair, but I'm really glad I took some advice. One of my friends said, listen, I have a standing desk and you do not want to stand all the time, like 100% of the time. And that's true. So the chair comes in handy, and it's designed so that saddle style chair, it's more like it's not like a chair. It's more like you're sitting on a saddle and your hips are tilted away, tilted down, lower than the waist, which helps you sit up nice and straight. It's very cool looking. I love it. So between walking on the treadmill, sitting in the saddle chair, or simply standing like I am right now, I'm in all different positions throughout the day. I'm always changing from the left side of my desk to the right side of my desk. I have the monitor on an arm so it can move with me. And I'm in all different positions and moving, and that's really the point. The other thing I noticed is that my old desk had these big drawers underneath that were just full of junk through the years, like old speakers and old CDs and just like nonsense. And this desk doesn't have drawers underneath because it moves up and down. So I've had to get rid of all that stuff. Now it's actually over there in the corner in a big pile. So 2019, I'm going to clean that up. Okay. So many great things this year. If you guys have any questions about this, by the way, feel free to ask in the comments. I know we're blowing through a lot of different topics today. But hopefully it's helpful for you to hear about all this, because a successful business truly depends on seeing what others are doing, having role models, getting new ideas, and stepping outside of our comfort zone. So 2018, we've already heard about the niching down and the team and the calendar and the standing desk. And finally, number 5, the 5th best decision I made this year was this, to start podcasting on a regular basis. And it started in a really organic way. I wasn't like, you know what, I'm going to start a podcast. It really didn't happen like that. I had been doing these types of broadcasts inside of our Facebook group for a while, many months. And that's all it was. It was just a weekly broadcast into the Facebook group. But I decided I was going to take that same piece of content and publish it into podcast format. Hence, the Health Coach Power Community podcast was born on iTunes. And I encourage you to do this in your business. Think about, how can I make more out of whatever I'm already doing? So now, in fact, we're publishing these episodes to iTunes, across all of the podcasting platforms, and to YouTube as well. So in 2019, YouTube is going to become a larger focus, which is really exciting. But the great part about this whole thing with podcasting is that it's helping me reach a whole new audience. And I love that, because iTunes acts as a search engine, and so does YouTube. People go there looking for something, just like you would go to Google and search, like, help me with my health coaching business, or help me lose weight, or whatever you're searching for. iTunes and YouTube are both search engines in their own right. So if you put your content into that search engine and you're appealing to a very specific target market, you'll be found. So cool. The other reason that I love podcasting is because I like this. I find it kind of fun to show up once a week and talk with you guys. I don't have to correct typos or correct my grammar like I would with a blog post. It just kind of flows. So for me, it feels a lot more natural, a lot more fun. And so, in fact, in the coming year, I'm going to be launching a She's Got Power podcast to go along with my new health coaching website. So yeah, 2 businesses, 2 podcasts, but it's like no sweat. It's content creation that I really enjoy creating it. I really enjoy delivering it. And that's the key. If you want to make a dent with online marketing, then you really need to be creating consistent content, free content for the masses. And it's a heck of a lot easier if you love the medium. So if you love writing, then blog. If you want to make videos, if that's your thing, being on camera, make videos. But really, one of my best decisions this year was turning podcasting into my main medium, so to speak. Now, speaking of podcasts, to produce a weekly episode takes a lot of dedication. It takes a lot of energy. You should know that if you're going to get into podcasting. And if it's useful for you, I want to keep doing it. However, I have 3 ways that you can help me keep doing it. First is, won't you please take 60 seconds to write a review on iTunes? It's by far the most helpful thing that you could do for the show, or that you could do for me in exchange for all of the free training and the free advice and the free information that I'm throwing down every week. So all you have to do is go to iTunes, go to reviews, leave a star review, and write a written review and submit. And I will love you for that. If you're not an iTunes person, the second favor that I want to ask you is to show up. Show up in the Health Coach Power community group, ask questions, get involved in the community, and most importantly, show up for these live tapings. Is that what it's called anymore? Tapings? There's definitely no tape involved. I probably just aged myself with that word. But show up to these live tapings, because I love interacting with you in real time. Kind of keeps me on my toes. You guys ask questions that I have not had a chance to look over ahead of time. And I think that's a very good thing. So you're not just getting like scripted answers to questions, which is often what we're getting when we go to some sort of online resource. I like for you to be here live, if at all possible. And finally, please recommend this show to your health coach friends. I know a lot of you are actually already doing this. Thank you, because people will come to the group and say, I heard about it from a friend. You can link to our iTunes page inside of maybe your school's online forum, or your coaching circles, or your accountability groups, or just share it with your best buds. Because I am doing this work because, what is that saying? A rising tide lifts all the boats. I said that wrong, but you know what I mean. A rising tide lifts all boats. And the more we help each other, the more the field of health coaching becomes recognized and respected, and the more we can change the world in 2019. So I want to wish you all the happiest of holidays. Keep asking great questions, and I will be back in January with our usual Q&A style show. I'll see you then.